Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Hana. I am a self-improvement coach, trauma coach, and content creator. I also practice medicine as my actual career, my main career. And I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel called My Car Halaqa. So I hope the sound is okay if you are watching this. I'm trying out a new mic. But I just realized while I'm driving, so often, subhanallah, الذي سخر لنا هذا ما كنا له مقرنين وإنا إلى ربنا لمنقلبون. بسم الله توكلنا على الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. I try not to ever forget to say my dua. But while I'm driving, so often I'm like having conversations in my head about things, and some of my best ideas come to mind. So I thought, why don't I just start recording the thoughts out loud and sharing them with you guys, if you guys care to actually hear. So with that being said, one thing I want to talk about is I've been thinking a lot about the concept of tawakkul. And I think all of us kind of think about tawakkul when things are happening in our lives, challenges are coming up. And this definitely is a season of a new type of challenge for me. Some of, basically all of them, I'm not yet able to speak about them as things are in the work, and there's actually legal aspects of it that I'm not allowed to speak about. One day I will have the story for you guys once everything is said and done, because it is crazy. And I'm just like, how did I get into this situation? Oh Allah. So I've been thinking a lot about tawakkul. And tawakkul, if you don't know, I'm assuming majority of my subscribers are and watchers are Muslim, but if you don't know, tawakkul is basically the Arabic word for immense trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah being God. I had a question come up from one of my clients, and we were talking about tawakkul. I don't remember who exactly brought up the point, but one of my clients, coaching clients, asked, it's all fine and dandy that we know we're Muslim, we need to have tawakkul, but how do you actually have tawakkul? How do you do that? How do you grow that? And I was like, that's such a good question. Now, if you know me, then you know I mean, if you've been watching my videos, especially some of you guys are new here. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, and follow along the journey, inshallah. I really anticipate this channel growing. Alhamdulillah, even in a very short period of time, it has been growing, and I've been getting a lot of really great feedback from subscribers. You can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram and my email actually are both in the description of every video, so you can always reach out to me there. But subscribe, please. But if you know me, I'm very systematic in my approach. I'm very big on practicality. I really think about, when it comes to these beautiful concepts we have in our deen, I'm like, how do we apply them? A lot of people don't know this, but the Sahaba, when they used to read Quran and memorize Quran, it took them a very long time, because they would make it a point to apply the verse that they had learned before moving on to the next verse. And that's how I believe we should be living out our Islam. This is how we should be as Muslims. And so she was asking that. Now I'm here I am, like, undergoing these challenges in my life. And I mean, one that is affecting me very much financially, things that are keeping me up at night. And again, I can't share details right now. One day I will share details. But you can even think about challenges in your own life. That same thing, right? They are affecting different factors and aspects of your ability to just exist and affecting your sleep and stressing you out. So just apply it to basically whatever you're going through. Oh, this is super awkward to like be at a red light when someone's next to you and you're talking. But I was like, what am I doing? Like, what do I do that helps me build tawakkul? Tawakkul brings me so much peace, you guys. When I think about like the chaos that can ensue in my life, and so much of even what I've developed here in my coaching and content creation company came from past experiences where it felt like my life was up in flames and I had no idea what to do. And it was through like small, consistent changes, applying systems, iterating over and over again, that I found what worked and helped pull me out of literally a decade of dealing with depression and anxiety, chronic depression and anxiety. And so here are the things that I think are really important to building tawakkul. So first, off, what I told my coaching client, this was in our group coaching call. I have a trauma group coaching program that I run that is 10 weeks long. If you want information, that all the stuff is always in the description. But I was like, I think a lot of us, we struggle trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because we don't know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And think about it this way, right? When the people that you trust in your life, like who you truly trust, you could say almost with confidence that they take a bullet for you. You didn't just meet them. It was probably years and years of experiences with them, seeing them show up. I think about my best friend, right? My best friend, I've known her since I was 9 years old. And I've seen her show up in my life, right? When I needed her, she was there. When I was endeavoring on something new, whether it was a new project, whether it was going to PA school, studying and practicing medicine, she was always encouraging me. When there were things that I was slipping up that did not represent the best version of me, she would call it out. And so that is how I know I can trust her, because through time and time she's demonstrated that she's someone who wants the best for me and is going to do whatever she can to help push me there, right? You might feel that way about your husband or wife if you're married. If you're not married, that's probably what you're hoping for from your husband or wife. So we need to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to trust him. And we come to know him through two different ways. Number one is we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his attributes, right? His qualities, his characteristics. Most people will know those qualities through the 99 names of Allah. You should know that there are not actually only 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is just a consolidation of 99 names, but there are actually more names, and many of them do this second. I don't wear sunglasses when I drive. So yeah, but think of it this way, right? We have the names. We know Allah is the most, or Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, Al-Ghafur, the most forgiving, As-Sami', the one who's all hearing, Al-Wali, the protector, Al-Qadir, the one who's capable, Rizaq, the provider, right? We know these qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how do we actually build ourselves to trust that Allah is going to come through with that quality? And the way you do this is you start to identify how those qualities of Allah show up in your life. And the Prophet ﷺ actually used to do this very often for the Sahaba. So there's one story that comes to mind, right, where the Prophet, I believe it was on a battlefield, and there's this mom who runs up, she loses her baby, and then she finally finds the baby in like the thick of battle, picks her baby up, and subhanallah, she starts breastfeeding him. And the Prophet ﷺ looks at the companions and says, you see that mother? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, do you think that she would ever throw her child into the fire? And they go, ooh, right. They go, no, absolutely not. And the Prophet goes, Allah is more merciful than she is, right? So the Prophet used this experience and this thing that they were seeing that was a real life manifestation of the concept of mercy to exemplify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, or at least give us an understanding. Now you can be like, oh my gosh, wow, this is another example, right? We know that there are 100 parts of mercy. There's a hadith about there are 100 parts of mercy, and in the dunya we're only exposed to one part, and Allah is saving the other 99 parts for Yawm al-Qiyamah. So in the dunya only 1% of Allah's mercy is experienced, and the other 99%. Now you can conceptualize it. So what are aspects of mercy that I have in my life? Like, think about your life, and that's only 1% of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. And that 1% is split across the earth. So that mercy that you've experienced in your life is not even measurable because of how tiny it is in comparison to everything else that exists on this earth. So that's like part one of how you build tawakkul. You look at the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you identify the examples of those in your life, so you can connect more deeply with those qualities. Number two, and this is something I find myself coming back to over and over again. I kind of used to struggle with dua. I'm a lot better at it now, and I won't go into too much about it. But with dua, part of it is like trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is noting when He answers our dua in the dunya. So many times, think about how many times that you'll like pray for something, even going as far as like in desperation, you're begging for it, and then Allah gives it to you, and you forget it. You forget that you ever prayed for it, and you forget to thank him, and you forget to do good deeds out of appreciation for what he's given you. That has happened to me so often, and now I really try to make it a point to make these du'as and think back when I see them come to fruition, like, hey, I need to be grateful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that if we are grateful to him, if we demonstrate gratitude, he will give us even more. Like, what kind of, that's such, this, Allah is al-Kareem, he's the most generous, right? That is an exemplification of that characteristic. So when you make dua and Allah gives you what you want, now you're building trust because you're trusting, like, Allah came through for me. And of course, Allah is always going to come through. It's not always the way we picture it or want it. But what I'm saying is that when you can actually understand it, then you believe it more. And if you believe it more, you trust it more. And if you trust it more, you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. So that was understanding Allah through his qualities. Second is understanding Allah through his word. His word being the Quran. The Quran is the book of guidance. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words. It is everything. It is a book of law. It is a book of stories. It's a history book. It is a love letter between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ. It is a book of psychology. It tells us every aspect of how human beings develop, both physically and mentally, is described in the Quran. And all of these nuances of human psychology and how we interact with our environment, how we interact with one another, is in the Quran. So to build trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you trust someone, right, who you believe knows what they're talking about, right? If I'm going to a doctor's office and I have like a really rare medical condition, may Allah protect me and protect all of us, whoever's watching this, but I'm going to go to a specialist. I'm going to go to someone who knows. I'm not going to go to like my family medicine doctor about my super rare condition and ask for them to manage my treatment. I'm going to go to a specialist because I trust that the specialist knows what they're talking about. Now, what say you about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything beyond it that we can't even see, writing the book of guidance to human beings, telling us exactly what's going to happen, what we need to look out for, how we operate, how we should operate, all the faults that we have and all that we have to gain. When you interact with Allah's book intimately like that, you're unlocking secrets. And this is one of my favorite concepts in the world. So we operate and exist in a physical world, right? I'm driving a car right now. It's the physical object that I am operating and moving. But also we exist in a metaphysical world. The metaphysical world encompasses everything that we cannot see. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the metaphysical world very often in the Quran. This is heaven, this is hell, this is the angels and the jinn. This is our good deeds having an effect on us, our bad deeds. It's right, the angels on our shoulders writing the deeds that we do, good and bad. This is metaphysical. And our brain very much operates on physical, right? It wants logic, right? But our heart and our soul operates on metaphysical. This is why someone can be in a situation that is so destructive and chaotic and so scary and be at peace, right? You think about like the way people cope, in these people who have faith and believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so deeply. It's like they have a level of coping that is not humanly possible. And that's because it's not humanly possible. It's literally coming from the metaphysical aspect of the world. So the Quran is the only book that gives us access into the understanding the metaphysical world. No other book. All these other books, right, in people's understandings are still concluded by human beings. Whereas the Quran, if you're a Muslim, you believe the Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you literally get access to the way these things we can't even see affect us. That's insane when you think about it, subhanAllah. I'll give you one example of this, right? It's like there's a verse in the Quran, and I forget, I was just looking at this verse today. I was talking to someone about it, but a verse in the Quran that says, it encourages us to make istighfar, and that when we make istighfar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shower us with rain, and He will increase us in wealth and children. Now, if you ask a human being, how do I have more kids and how do I build more wealth? They're gonna look at you like, okay, have more kids. Well, first find someone you trust to have children with, and if you're Muslim, obviously it's the person you're married to, and track ovulation, and you know, be intimate and check your pregnancy tests. And if things are not going, a doctor will tell you, if you've been trying for a year and you have not been successful, come back so we can check to see if there are issues that are getting in the way in infertility in terms of building wealth. Or people have a huge spectrum of advice on this. It might be, optimize your income. It might be start investing. It might be open up a business. It might be spend less, like lots of different points. But Allah's not saying any of that. He's literally saying make istighfar. Like say astaghfirullah. That's a metaphysical effect. That's metaphysically, istighfar increases your rizq. That's just that. You don't need to understand how or why, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the one who gives us our rizq, is the one who's saying it. Right? Allah is the one telling us it. That's a metaphysical world. So you want to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Then learn the way he operates, because he has certain laws of the universe that he holds himself to, right? One example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet tells us that Allah has written above his throne, meaning he set as a law for himself that his mercy will overcome his anger or his wrath or his punishment, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have to, but he holds himself to certain laws, and then we benefit from that. So when you learn those laws, you build your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you get an insider look into how to like really life hack. Man, being Muslim is the biggest life hack. I've got a video coming up about that, inshallah. I don't know when it's gonna go out, but being Muslim is the biggest life hack. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I know it's been long, 17 minutes. I have something to ask from you. If you're a subscriber, if you've subscribed to this channel, I want to personally say thank you, and I want to ask you to type I subscribed in the comment section. I reply to every comment that I get, but for my subscribers who comment this, I'm going to reply with something a little more special. That's one. Two, if you are new to this channel, please like and subscribe, inshallah. This channel is going to grow. I have no doubt about it. I'm already seeing so much blessing and barakah in it. And I always joke, I'm like, you don't want to miss a train wreck, because everybody wants to jump on when like you've gained a certain level of success, and it's like, oh, when you hit this many subscribers, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, I want to subscribe to you now. But when you're the early subscriber, you're the OGs. That's a much higher like level of commitment, I think. And I very much appreciate all of you guys who are already subscribed, inshallah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in anything that I kind of spoke about today in terms of the services that I offer, then please check them out in the description below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.